welcome to another interesting segment on Home Trade Nigeria. Today, I want to talk on the topic Nigerian men you should not mess with. Guys, I'll be talking on this topic. For those of you trying to, make meaning to this topic, I'm basically talking about Nigerian men you shouldn't consider going into a relationship with. And in case you are with one, perhaps it's high time you you left. Now, it's very important to understand Nigerian men before you go into relationship with them. It's very important to understand how a real and a normal Nigerian man would behave in a relationship. What you should expect when you're dating a real Nigerian man. Because the truth is, most of the guys, some of you meet online, a lot of them are not up to standard of what we call the real, Nigerian men or man. So this video is basically for those of you who are either dating a Nigerian man newly, you're getting to know one, uh, and then perhaps you've seen some behavior or a behavior, but because this behavior is not known so much to you, you just conclude that it is a normal behavior with Nigerian men. So for this reason, I want to talk about some behaviors you should see and you shouldn't have anything to do with this man. Just for emphasis. So the first one is the lazy ones. Now, if you're in a relationship with a Nigerian man who is not employed, he has no job, he's not making effort to get one. He's not even thinking to maybe like have a career change. Like for instance, start a business. But you know, you always have him talking to you 24/7 and you're also excited that you can always talk to him, then you would have a problem. Because the truth is, that guy, if something happens to both of you, that guy would be your downfall. One of the biggest mistake you would make, and a lot of you will make, is to date a lazy Nigerian man. And is it a Nigerian man who basically doesn't want to work? He just wants to be on bed, in bed, chatting with you, telling you there's no job in Nigeria, but you fail to ask him, okay, if there's no job in Nigeria, what effort have you made to at least show that you tried securing a job? The reason is that an average Nigerian man is very hardworking. Nigerians are resilient. If something is not working, Nigerian men try to find another way to survive. That's why you would see a university graduate in Nigeria, becoming a taxi driver, an Uber driver, going into small scale businesses just to make ends meet. Because the concept or the ideology of a lot of Nigerian men is that we know we are responsible for our family and it's our duty to make ends so we can provide for family. But if you're with these guys who are always, blaming the government, and when they meet you, they are very comfortable staying at home. They are not ready to like start something for themselves. They rather want to take money from you. And why they take this money, they blame the government. This is not a thing that would end anytime soon, because one thing you don't know is that you are actually creating a problem for yourself in case you decide to end up with this guy. So these guys, the lazy ones, avoid them. Don't do anything with them, basically. Number two is the ones who feel entitled to your money. Have you ever dated these Nigerian men who feel they're entitled to your money because they are basically dating you? These are the guys who complain that the money you are giving them is small. They even complain about the last one you gave them not to be enough. And they tell you it's not fair because you give them small money. And for that reason, you don't love them. Or have you, dating these guys who feel like you should put them on monthly salary? I know a lot of you know some, who come to you and they ask you to give them money because for them, dating you is actually, doing you a favor. And wanting to marry you, allows them to be entitled to everything you have. They do not care how you basically make money, what you do. They're only interested in the amount you send. And the amount you send to them is never enough. Doesn't matter if you, sell your car, sell your house. It doesn't matter if you starve, if you're sick. They don't care if you fall on the road, pass out while trying to send money to them. As long as the money eventually gets to them, they don't care. These guys are people you should basically avoid. I've heard stories of some women who actually would go to work in the morning, get money. I've seen stories of women who do 2 to 3 jobs and then send money to a Nigerian grown man who is at home somewhere doing nothing, and yet he complains that the money is not enough. If you're dealing with one, end it. This would lead to disaster in the future. Another guys you shouldn't mess with is the I am smarter than you kind of guy. These guys think they're very smart. And in fact, they think they're smarter than you. Now, I'm not talking about academic smartness, but rather what we call street smartness, as we say. Have you ever heard of the term, you're not street smart? These are the guys. So basically, these guys are, they feel because you are born and then you're raised overseas, or because you are Oibo, in quotes, you're not street smart. So, which basically means that they are smarter than you. A lot of time, these guys, they sit down and plan on what to tell you, in quotes, their partner, and they believe that whatever thing they tell you, you will believe because you're not smart enough to figure out, because in quote they are street smart. So they will plan something and tell you, and then they will find a way to gaslight and manipulate and confuse you in the process, to the point that you would believe everything they have to say. This is where, I'm sorry to say, they get a lot of white women, because they believe the white women believe anything you tell them. I know a lot of white women I speak with, even when I try to say, hey, this is scam, they still like, don't believe. They want to send people to go investigate. So they find it hard. These men find it hard, dating black Western women, because they know the black Western women would ask questions. So these guys who think they are street smart, they're very dangerous. They will turn stories upside down when they're with you. And if they see that you're trying to figure out or catch up with their game, immediately they will make you feel like you are the problem. They will tell you, one of the reasons I don't tell you a lot of things is because you're very disrespectful, you argue a lot, you don't trust me, I don't think you even love me. They will gaslight you to the point whereby you begin to see yourself as the problem. These are the same guys who tell you that the reason they are yet to get married to you is because they married someone back home in Nigeria, and they cannot divorce that person except they have some ritual. And this ritual will cost some money. Perhaps it could cost 10 grand. I've had a situation where the ritual will cost 10 grand, and the lady quickly had to go provide $10,000 for the guy to go to Nigeria and make ritual. No, that dude didn't make any ritual. He went to Nigeria to buy a land and to start a housing project. So these guys, they think you are gullible. They think you are mumu. They think you're not smart. They think your brain is empty. And for this reason, anytime your brain starts working like Sherlock Holmes, they will quickly point to you that, look, you think I'm lying? I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. The problem is you don't understand Nigerian culture. So it always has to fall back to you not understanding Nigerian culture. Another guys you shouldn't mess with are this dude who asks for money or financial support. Now, this is the most common, and I find nothing wrong, guys, when your man is asking, for a little financial assistance to solve a problem. I have nothing wrong with that. If your man say, "Hey, babe, can you help me with this? I just have this pressing need I want to solve now." But when it becomes your duty to feed and clothe a grown man, when it becomes your responsibility to pay him monthly because he's dating you, or when he finds it so comfortable to ask you for money, if I were you, I will run away from this dude. I will run as fast as I could, because this is a disaster waiting to happen. The reason is, such behavior is very untypical with Nigerian men. Nigerian men are very proud, and most Nigerian men who genuinely love a woman and want to be with her will not be financially dependent on her. I've said this a lot of times in a lot of my videos. They will go find a way to work for their money, and they would give the woman the impression that they're hardworking and they can take care of her. If you find yourself as a lady, you're dating a Nigerian man and you're always sending money to him constantly, either by him demanding money from you frequently or through frequent demands, just know that it would lead to tears in the future. You would cry for this because it will not amount to anything. I can assure you this. And this is one of the reasons why I say it's a red flag. The moment you're dating a guy and it is your duty to give him money consistently, that's a problem. It's not a relationship that will work. And our guys you shouldn't mess with are the big time liars. Now, if you're dating a man who you've caught in so many series of lies and you keep catching him and he keeps apologizing, he keeps making it seem as if you don't understand him. And that's why you think he's lying. He blames his reason for lying on you. And yet you look at him and then you forgive him because you love him. My sister, you are playing with Diablo. You're playing with Diablo. That's the truth. I've said this to some of you who have spoken to me personally. There are certain lies that are deal breakers. For instance, if you ask a Nigerian man if he has eaten and he said no, and then you later got to find out that he has eaten, that's a lie, yes, but it's not something that you can hang on to because perhaps you want to find out, okay, why did he say he hasn't eaten, why he's actually eaten? It doesn't do you any much harm. But you see, this lies that has to do with identity, not knowing his real name, his age, or personal things that you ought to know, most especially when you are in a relationship with a Nigerian man. And then later you get to find out all this information. You get to find out that in as much as he's appearing to be single to you, he's actually married to a woman with family back home in Nigeria. For me, these are deal breakers. And the moment you start seeing lies that conflict personal information, private information about himself that he's told you in the past, I would carefully, you know, exit because as it progresses, it gets worse because you need to tell more lies to cover the other lie and another lie to cover the other lie. And it will get to the point that this guy himself will be so tired of telling lies, that he would just with himself leave the leave the relationship because he's tired of lying. Another guy you shouldn't mess with are the confused guys. These guys, they are mostly online for relationship. They basically do not have anything going on with their life. 90% of them, when you meet them online, they will tell you they have no job, but they are musical artists or they are dancers. And yet you can't trace one song to their name, or even a simple lullaby or lullaby. You can't trace any to their name. You see this men, they're in their 30s, in their 40s, and they still have this ambition to be the next Davido, Whiskey, Burna Boy. And yet, some of these women in the Western world dig them. They give them serious time. Some even give them money to go to the studio to produce nonsense. When you go to the studio, they just spend money and time talking. I see this girl, her name na Kate, around 8, front of my gate. Oh, oi, oi, oi. Rubbish lyrics that, anyone who listens to it, they should refund the person money for time wasted. And a lot of women in the Western world actually pay money for these guys to have studio time. And these guys, they are in their 30s, approaching their 40s. No plan B to life. Their plan is to sing, and they believe for whatever reason, when they come to your country, they would, become top musician because they got talents. You know, I remember a lady was once telling me that her guy is a popular Nigerian musician, and I asked the lady, I said, "What's the name of your guy again?" She gave me one name. I told her I've never heard of this name before. Does he have a hit song or some song? You know, you know. And this lady sent me a song. This lady sent me a song. I listened to the song, and it was this guy was just polluting the air with whatever thing that was coming out from his mouth in the name of music. The decibel of noise coming out from his mouth was so bad. And for that reason, I asked the lady, I think, do you think he would be successful when he comes to your country to start a career with music? She said, well, he said so. Uh, he said so. That's what he said. Okay. So, guys, listen, sometimes a lot of problems you go through in your relationship with Nigerian men, especially the ones you meet online, is mostly because a lot of you are messing with or dealing with guys you shouldn't even in the first place have started anything with. And sometimes a lot of you've invested so much money and time that you just want to see it to the end. It now becomes difficult to detach yourself because a lot of you believe that, okay, for whatever reason, the you believe a good could still, come out of it. You totally believe that, okay, perhaps this guy who's always asking you for money each month, probably he could end up working with the IRS. He could work with one tax company or become a tax auditor. you know and perhaps some good will come out of it. Or this guy who tells a lot of lies, he could come to your country and he becomes a lawyer. Or these ones who try to play like they're very smart, try to gaslight you and manipulate you. Maybe they become they work with the FBI, the intelligence units. A lot of you figure out that, okay, perhaps something good would come out of these guys. But the truth is, not everybody you meet online you should give audience. A lot of them are disaster waiting to happen. So, guys, again, as always, if you want to reach out to me, you can write me on hometruth86@gmail.com. I like to say thank you for listening to this video. Please click, like, share. Home Truth Nigeria. Peace out.